Welcome everyone to the City Council meeting for the City of Evans, January 21st. I'm Brian Reedy, the Mayor. I'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mayor Reedy?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Clark?
Here.
Councilmember Johnson? Present. Councilmember Spear? Here. Councilmember Mortensen? Here. Councilmember Castle? Here. Councilmember Neal?
Present. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item not on the agenda this evening? None. Next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
Thank you.
I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item 6, consent agenda. Item A, approval of the January 7th, 2020 City Council meeting minutes. Item B, consideration of ordinance number 710-20, an ordinance amending Title 18, the Land Development Code, second reading.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item 7, new business. Item A, consideration of resolution number 02-2020, authorizing a table election on April 7th, 2020. We will hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, members of council. This item is the culmination of many months of City Council discussion, evaluation, analysis, and also a number of public meetings soliciting input from the public on one of Evans' most important and fundamental policy issues, which is the condition of our roads. This item tonight would place a measure on the ballot, the April 7th, 2020 ballot, that would increase the sales tax rate in Evans from 3.5% to 4.5%, so 1% or 1 penny on the dollar, and the revenue used from the 1% increase would be used exclusively for road maintenance and arterial capacity expansion, as well as paving dirt roads in Evans. And the tax would also be effective from July 1, 2020, if it passes, through June 30 of 2027, so 7 years. It has a sunset, which means that the tax would end unless otherwise authorized for extension by a vote of the people. So it's important that everyone knows that there is a sunset on this tax. So the item before you this evening, your staff report and a resolution, have the actual ballot language you are voting on tonight. We are confident that it does comply with the Colorado State Constitution and the provisions of the Taxpayer Bill of Rights, or TABOR. And with that, Mayor, we would be glad to answer any questions or encourage your consideration of the resolution.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. Are there any questions of staff?
No questions.
No question.
Hey, no questions. I'll start. Our roads are in tough shape, and we need to do something about it. I'm fully behind this, putting it on the ballot. It's very similar to what the city of Greeley did, and look at their roads. I think they look fantastic. I'm never in favor of charging anybody any increases in anything. However, we need it, and it's 1 cent on the dollar. We can get so much done with this. There are maps we've all seen on how many roads we can do with the $600,000 we have now, and what we can get done with this 1% sales tax. We can change our city. We can make our city beautiful. We can make our roads safe. And I am fully in support of putting this on the ballot.
I would agree with you as well. And you know, as many people I come across and talk to, one of the first things I say is, you know, a lot of us here, we do shop a lot in Greeley, and we did not get, you know, a chance to vote on Greeley's sales tax increase, but we're paying it. And we didn't have a say in that, and look at their roads, as the mayor said. One of the biggest things we can do as a community is to hopefully get this on the ballot, get this passed, so we can, you know, fix our roads. I mean, we all live here, we shop here as well, and one of the biggest things we need to do is maintain our roads and our infrastructure to maintain a safe city, and I'm fully in support of this as well.
Yeah, I think that I agree with you guys. We're going over to Greeley. We're already paying the tax in Greeley, and this is not a tax that is going to be a burden onto our residents. This is a tax that if someone comes to Sam's Club and from Greeley or from anywhere and buys, and it's going to be on the consumption instead of just on our citizens.
Yep.
And I think we can agree with with all the grants that we've had in the past and that we're looking for in the future for road work, that between that and our budget, that we will be able to do all of the improvements that we have in mind. So I really appreciate the wording of this too. You guys, city staff took a really good amount of time to get the wording on this measure, and I really look forward to having the support of our citizens so that we can make it a nicer place to drive here in Evans.
I would agree. I think it's really important, and I think that putting a sales tax measure just makes so much sense versus a mill levy that would then burden only the residents within the city, only the homeowners, but really looking at what made the most sense. And I appreciate the work of previous councils, of this council, of city staff, the committees, everybody that's really gone into this. I think it's incredibly important, and I look forward to being able to utilize those funds to really improve our city and make it someplace we can be even more proud of. So I'm in full support.
I also agree with all of you. This tax will help us all as a community, and it's for all of us. It will provide our city better roads, and it will also give our city a safer roads for us to travel on. And as Councilmember Clark mentioned, we will all share in this. So not just Evans, but everyone in the surrounding areas will assist us with this and will help us pave the way, to having better roads. And so I am also behind this.
Any other comments?
Yes, sales tax takes some of the burden off of the residents, which is very helpful versus some property tax increase. And as someone who just got back from Dallas and looking at my hotel bill, I can tell you that the sales taxes and the fees that are added on are pretty tremendous. And it all went to Dallas instead of Evans. So we need to, and we've needed some kind of leadership by previous city councils to set aside money to improve our roads and other infrastructure. And I think this is one of the best ways we can do it right now, is to pass it and get this sales tax passed.
Thank you, Fred.
With the education we were given and the direction we were given and all the information we saw, this was, from everything we saw, the quickest, well, not particularly quickest, but one of the best ways to get the funding needed to get the roads fixed in as timely a manner as possible, instead of waiting to try to pass a mill levy or trying to wait for grants or trying to wait for some other monies to come in. And where we all agreed that we, at the time of discussion, liked it, is that people coming from all over would pay it. So like all my family's back in the Midwest, so if they all come to visit and they buy things here, they're going to be paying for it. If people from Greeley, like they said, come to Sam's Club or our gas stations or anything over here, they're going to be paying it, and we already pay it wherever else we shop, Fort Collins, Loveland, Greeley, everywhere I've gone in all those areas, because I do visit people in those areas, I pay it there, so I'm willing to do it here. I think it's one of our best options.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to adopt resolution number 02-2020.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 202-2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item B, consideration of resolution number 03-2020 in support of the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization Multi-Model Options Funds Grant. And we'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council held a work session on this topic at your last meeting, January 7th, and you heard a preliminary overview of the comprehensive plan process and the way that the transportation component of the comprehensive plan will work. Transportation is a major part of the comprehensive plan. At that time, we had told you we had some conversation, had submitted an application for a grant that would help us accomplish this important planning work. Since then, we've had even better news. The MPO got back to staff and let us know that there had been action of approval for a lower grant match for Evans, given several of the different factors related to Evans, and that our match would only be 10% of the project. And they allowed our maximum project cost to be a little higher than we had even proposed. The city's match, I believe, will be $15,000, and the maximum project cost can be $168,000. So that's a whole lot of bang for our buck, and it really does show support from the region and from the MPO for Evans to update its transportation plan and its comprehensive plan. So the action you're taking this evening, Council, we're looking for your approval of the grant application and our approval of the grant and a preliminary budget revision for 2020 to move the funding that we had in 2019, carry that forward into 2020, and that's in an amount of $150,000. That's what we're looking for action tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. Questions or comments? Questions of staff or comments?
I actually found out about that on Thursday during our work session at our meeting in Windsor, and Becky Carrasco from the MPO came up and said, hey, just got some good news, and said exactly what Jim said. We're going to be 10% so, and she was letting our staff know. So I was really excited that we're getting a lot of money for a very low match, and this is going to go a great way, for our city to use. I'm very excited about it.
Absolutely.
Mayor, if I may?
Sure.
For more clarification, we distributed at the dais an updated version of the resolution that includes the updated information. It reflects the 10% match. So that's what you have. It is different from the resolution in your packet. I just wanted to make it clear that there's an updated resolution you're taking action on.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I'd like to thank Mark for all his hard work that he's put in on the MPO to obtain funding and get our message across that we're looking to move forward on our transportation needs, and we'd like the funds to do it. And it certainly is nice that we can update our plans. I think that also is necessary to be able to provide updated statistics to the MPO so that they are more willing to approve funding for these plans.
Thank you, Fred.
Thanks, Fred. Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate that, Fred, but yeah, I can't do it alone. I've got great staff, city staff behind me helping me with the MPO, so a big shout out to them for their help as well.
Yeah, I was going to echo Mayor Pro Tem Clark a little bit and just thank the staff for all their hard work. Thanks to you for your work, but really the work of the MPO and the staff is outstanding, and to be able to bring this much to our citizens for such a low cost is so advantageous, and being able to take advantage of grants like this really does a lot for our city, and I know it means a lot to everybody who lives here, whether they understand that impact yet or not, it's huge. So thank you to everybody for that.
Thank you.
Any other comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to adopt resolution number 03-2020 and approve the preliminary budget revision to carry forward $150,000 of the funding for the comprehensive, $168,000, sorry, funding from the comprehensive plan from the 2019 budget.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 03-2020. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item 8, report, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one comment tonight that's not entirely good news, just cautionary information. In the last couple of years, the city has experienced significant sales tax growth, which has been great and very important for us. We have seen sales tax activity trend, down's not the right word because it's still growing slightly. We're still in very good shape with comparison to our budget because we budget very conservatively, but where we've been seeing between 5 and 10% year-over-year increases the past couple of years. This year, at this point, it looks like we're on track to meet the revenue sales tax that we collected last year. But we are seeing that slow down significantly. So we watch that carefully. We watch that monthly, and we'll have more information for you. As I say, we budget very conservatively, so we're still well ahead of our actual budget. But it is a factor that we are starting to get our attention. So we'll have more for you as we close out 2019 and as we go forward budget-wise. That's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Jim. City attorney.
Looks like we have a couple of executive sessions, so I have nothing other than the executive session.
Thank you, Scott. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item? Seeing none, as our city attorney just mentioned, we do have 2 executive sessions, one for City Council and one for the ERA. So I will be keeping this meeting opening our ERA meeting. We will go into executive session for both at the same time. So I will open the ERA meeting and I will ask for roll call.
Chair Rudy?
Here.
Vice Chair Clark?
Here.
Commissioner Johnson?
Present.
Commissioner Spear? Here. Commissioner Mortensen? Here. Commissioner Castle? Here. Commissioner Neal?
Present.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda?
There are no changes to the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item 4, consent agenda. Approval of the December 3rd, 2019 Evans Redevelopment Agency meeting minutes.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay. Anyone nay? Motion passes. Sorry, Mark. So we'll have to go into both executive sessions, Mark, so if you want to make the motion.
I move to go into executive session to receive legal advice on specific questions and to provide direction to negotiators in connection with the Willowbrook non-potable water system, and to receive legal advice on specific legal questions and to provide direction to negotiators in connection with the Flexible Real Estate Company LLC contract. And these are pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, subsection 4B and D.
I have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. We will go into executive session. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight.
Thank you.
No, that's not.